It was supposed to be just another mission, just another night, another broken door, another blown mouth. But this time, it was different. This time, it was personal. She was beautiful. The kind of girl you look at twice and still feel like you're dreaming. A sculpted body, a mesmerizing gaze, and a smile that hid more secrets than many a dangerous criminal out there. But behind the makeup and lingerie, there was a police officer, a badass one. Intelligent, strategic, and with blood in her eyes. Her name, that doesn't matter. What matters is what she did and what she faced, because this story here will mess with your head. It all started when she heard about the nightclub in the heart of the hill. Eclipse nightclub. A simple, discreet facade, but it was bustling at night with armored cars, politicians in ties, and high-ranking criminals coming and going, as if it were a sacred temple of crime. But what no one saw, or pretended not to see, was the activity in the back. A secret room, a vault of secrets. There, the biggest negotiations of weapons, drugs, and lives took place, and she wanted to be inside, see with her own eyes, record, unmask, take down. But no one enters this kind of place just any old way, only with an invitation, or with a sway that makes even a gang leader forget he's carrying a pistol on his waist. And she had both. And if you want to follow this story until the end, with tension, shooting, and corruption, subscribe now to the Rota de Conflito channel. Here the truth comes raw without makeup, no matter who it hurts. Activate the bell, because what will happen in the next episodes will blow your mind. Cruzeiro Favela, North Zone, 8:17 p.m. The alley was narrow, smelly, and full of eyes peering out of broken windows. The deep sound of the banging echoed off the walls, mixed with the dry crackling of fireworks. But it wasn't a party. It was a warning. The men are coming up. But that night, no one expected her arrival. A white gull stopped discreetly on the corner. Tinted windows, 3 taps on the steering wheel, combined code. The door opened. Red stiletto heels matching lipstick, black bodycon dress. She left as if she owed no one anything, but she was carrying more secrets than she could bear. "Take it easy," he whispered into the electronic device. "I'm coming in." On the other end of the line, the deep voice replied, "Anything, just say total eclipse. We'll invade." She smiled slightly. She was home. Eclipse. Nightclub. Interior. 8:43 p.m. The facade was discreet. It looked more like a bar falling apart, but all you had to do was cross the red curtain at the entrance, and the world changed. Purple lights, the smell of cigarettes mixed with expensive perfume, and the pole dancer shining in the center of a small stage. The girls danced as if their lives depended on it. And in that place, it did. She walked in with poise. She walked up to the counter and faced the manager, ripped black guy, open dress, shirt, gold chain, and a Glock pistol on his waist. He was the kind of guy who didn't even trust his own shadow. "I came for the vacancy," she said, staring straight ahead. The manager raised his eyebrow. "Name? Melissa. Lie." His real name was classified. He studied her for a few long seconds. Then he nodded toward a side hallway. "The test is now. If you pass, you start today. If you dance badly, you won't even come back to get your bag." She walked, hips loose, back straight. She knew eyes were on her. That was what she wanted. Test room, 9:05 p.m. The music started, deep, sensual. The beat set the rhythm, but she was the one in charge. First movement, slow, calculated, like a snake about to strike. Then came the turnaround. Cute on the pole, perfect jump, descent to the ground with a sensuality that hypnotized even the security guard who was trying to appear indifferent. But it wasn't just body. It was tactical. As she danced, her eyes scanned the surroundings. Security cameras, locked doors, the stairs to the basement. Everything was recorded. When the music stopped, she finished with a smile on the corner of her mouth and her hair falling over her face. Silence. The manager applauded slowly. "You're going to be a pain in the ass in here, But that's exactly what we need. Welcome to Eclipse, Melissa. Dancer's room, 10:13 p.m. She sat down in the dressing room. She picked up the lipstick, which was actually a tape recorder in disguise, and pressed the broadcast button. "I'm in," he said, looking in the mirror. "The secret room is behind the door with the scorpion symbol. I saw a politician coming out of there just now, and there were two AR-15s leaning against the wall." Skull's voice responded on point. "Understood. Stay in your lane. Just watch. I'll be a client tomorrow." She took a deep breath. The eyes in the mirror seemed colder now. "The hunt is about to begin, partner." 23:07. From the top of a ledge, Caveira observed with thermal binoculars. Marked. Faces, heavy weapons, and intense movement in the back of the nightclub. He spoke quietly, as if he had seen this film before. "So armed to the teeth. This mission is going to be flesh and blood, there's no way around it. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that when it comes, no one comes out unscathed." Favela do Cruzeiro. Next night, 10:47 p.m. The light rain trickled down the alleys, washing away the blood from an execution that had taken place 2 streets down. But in this part of the world, no one was crying for the dead. It was just another warm night, with the smell of gunpowder still fresh in the air. At the entrance to the Eclipse nightclub, 3 guys armed with rifles were sheltering from the rain under a dirty awning. One of them spotted the car slowly climbing the hill. "Oh, did you see?" commented the scout. "That car there isn't from the tram of the center." "No." The other looked more closely. "Armored, round, dark glass. He's a playboy. He must be just another politician wanting to see pussy before voting." They laughed, but only until the car stopped. The door opened and a man came out. Dark jeans, a black dress shirt, and an expensive watch on his wrist. But that wasn't what caught the eye. It was his gaze. Cold, lethal, the kind who has buried a colleague in his lap and still didn't blink. It was him. The Skull. Interior. Eclipse nightclub. 11:02 p.m. The music was loud. A blonde was floating down the pole. Customers were drooling. Waiters were running around with buckets of whiskey, and in the shadows of the bar, Melissa was watching every move, her lipstick already hidden in her stocking. She saw him come in, ex-military man's walk, wolf's gaze on enemy territory. He went straight to the bar, ordered a blue label and a bottle of coconut water, disguise, but the gun under his shirt was real. She approached slowly, a discreet sway, a subtle wink. "First time here, doctor?" he asked, playing the part. He smiled, getting into character. "I've heard good things. They say the service here is personalized." She laughed sensually, but at the electronic point, the mood was different. "There are 2 pit bulls at the back door. The congressman arrived half an hour ago, and that Turco guy, the drug lord in the West Zone, is here too." He replied in a firm voice. "Today is just reconnaissance. Tomorrow we'll set up the entrance." She leaned against his chest, as if flirting, and whispered, "The wall of the secret. Room is fake. Behind it is another room. I saw a map in the office. The real safe is there." He looked into her eyes, a long second. "Are you really going to go all the way?" She nodded seriously. She knew she might not come back alive, but she had to finish what she started. Second floor, Chief's office, 11:34 p.m. The deputy, already drunk, laughed loudly with the Turk. One of them was snorting powder from a silver tray. The other was leafing through a spreadsheet full of numbers. "The Caxias. Militia will send another 20 AKs. Next week, cocaine will arrive directly from Paraguay, and the money for the public works is already in the account." The Turk lit a cigar. "And the police?" The politician smiled cynically. "It's settled. Those who aren't, die, and those who are left, we'll kill them before the election." They toasted with $2,000 worth of whiskey. Downstairs, Melissa and Caveira had already recorded everything. Changing room, 0:12. She changed quickly. Behind the door, Skull kept watch. He heard footsteps, voices, lots of movement. "I think they've discovered something," he muttered. "Let's go now." She finished putting on her jacket. "No. If we leave, they'll take everything. The data, the weapons, The documents? He huffed impatiently. So what's the plan? She looked at him seriously. Tomorrow is the club's anniversary. It's going to be packed. The politician, the Turk, the security guards, everyone will be here. We'll go in with a mandate. Live, broadcast, full operation. Skull was silent for a moment. Are you planning a war? With only 2 soldiers? She gave a half smile. 2 is enough when you know where to shoot. He smiled back. Accomplice. There you go. Dawn 0227. Skull was back on the slab, watching. Cigarette lit. Rifle leaning against the wall. He said to the wind, "This woman is going to change everything." State Administrative Center. Deputy Ferreira's office. 9:12 a.m. The view was beautiful. The office on the 12th floor had Italian leather chairs, air conditioning that was colder than it needed to be, and an imported coffee maker that spit out espresso in gold capsules. But at that moment, luxury trembled. Deputy Ferreira, 58 years old, with a bloated belly and nervous hands, watched the video he had just received from an unidentified number. What the fuck is this? On the screen, himself, stoned, laughing, sniffing. Beside him, Turkish, the most wanted man in the state. Both talking about weapons schemes, bribery and execution of enemies, clean audio, clear image, indisputable evidence. Who did this? Across the room, the special advisor, Camargo, a retired former colonel with a vulture's gaze, said, "There's someone on the inside." The deputy stood up, sweating. "This can't be leaked. If this shit reaches the press and social media, my mandate will go to hell. And me too." Camargo approached calmly. "Leave it to me. I'll take care of it. But we'll need someone on the inside." "How much?" 40,000 to discover and disappear. Ferreira closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. Then he opened the drawer and took out a wad of bills. "Get the job done. Civil Police Station. Intelligence Section. 1103. Melissa sat in the monitoring room, her eyes glued to the nightclub's video feed. The technician next to her tried to maintain his composure, but he was already tense. This overturns an election," she replied without taking her eyes off the screen. "This here brings down the entire system." Kavira entered the room soon after with a cup of coffee and a heavy gaze. "There's already a rumor on the street that they're offering a reward for your head." She took out her cell phone and typed quickly. "We have 24 hours before this leaks to the wrong people. And the operation will go ahead. I've already spoken to the judge. The warrant is ready. Tomorrow, midnight, Eclipse will become a battlefield." Skull drank the coffee. Bitter. "So that's it. Tomorrow it all ends or starts." 5044. 3 hooded men were sitting at a table. In the center were photos of Melissa from the front of the nightclub. One of them was talking on the cell phone. "We already know who she is. Former GOE, top 5 in the course, undercover for 2 weeks, everything is recorded." The voice on the other end of the line was cold. "Kill her before tomorrow. If you have to, kill everyone in Eclipse. No one gets out alive, no one talks." Eclipse. Nightclub, changing room. Night before operation, 11:19 p.m. Melissa looked at herself in the mirror. Her heavy makeup hid her tiredness, but her eyes didn't lie. She knew the risk. She knew what was coming. Kavira entered, sat on the bench next to him, and took his pistol out of its holster. "Last chance to bail. No one will blame you." She smiled. "It's not just for me. It's for the girls who dance here without knowing who they're serving. For the kids who die at 12 years old. Selling cocaine while politicians fill their asses with money." She pulled out the necklace with the GOE plaque. "Are we together until the end, Skull?" He loaded the pistol's clip and replied without taking his eyes off her. "Until the last shot. Street next to Eclipse. Dawn. 0337. A black car drove by slowly. Inside it were 2 killers. One of them was holding a gun with a silencer. The other was reading Melissa's file. "She's beautiful. Too bad she's going to die." They parked and looked at their watches. Tomorrow will be the club's birthday party. The place will be packed. They knew if they didn't kill her before midnight, there would be no way to stop it. Eclipse nightclub. 9:42 p.m., Friday. The atmosphere in the favela was festive, but the tension in the air was palpable. Unmarked police cars were already positioned at the entrances. On the rooftops, men in civilian clothes and skulls in black waited for the signal. The two hired killers had already disappeared from the map. From the top of the hill, the drug traffickers barely realized that they were about to be cornered. At the nightclub's entrance, imported cars arrived non-stop. Mercedes, Audis, Land Rovers, men in ties, women in heels. Behind the simple facade, the luxury was disproportionate, and in the back, hell was taking shape. Melissa, in the dressing room, was wearing her outfit for the special performance. A tight red dress, stiletto heels, scarlet lipstick. On the outside, a dancer. On the inside, a lioness. Ready to kill, she discreetly tested the spot in her ear. Operation Eclipse confirmed. Alpha, Bravo and Charlie teams in position. 0 hour, we start the show. On the other end of the frequency, Skull's deep voice replied, "No mistake." Melissa smiled slightly. 11:56 p.m., main stage. The lights dimmed, the music changed. All eyes turned to the center of the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, with you, the star of the night," announced the DJ. Melissa walked in, slowly, mesmerizing. While he danced, he watched. In the audience, Congressman Ferreira, laughing with a cigar in his mouth. Next to him, Turco. Behind him, Camargo, in a dark suit and with a paranoid look. But her focus was elsewhere. The side staircase that led to the back hallway. The safe, the secret room. She took the rose out of her hair, a sign that she was leaving. Zero. Zeros. Explosion in the alley. Eclipse! Eclipse! Now! Shouted the command. The doors were broken down with explosives. Tear gas in the back. Gunshots. Exploding. Men screaming. Chaos became the rule. The nightclub became war. Kavira, already disguised as a security guard, took out his gun and shot the first two drug dealers who fired back. "Melissa, get the safe. I'll hold the front." E004, secret room. Melissa ran behind the stage, down the narrow staircase and through a hidden door behind a liquor cabinet. The room was humid, stuffy. Cameras, monitors, boxes of weapons, money scattered around. In the corner, the safe with a computer. She walked over, took out the pen drive and started copying the files. But then he heard a noise, a sob. Behind an acrylic screen, a side door was barely closed. She pulled it slowly, and he saw a girl, about 8 years old. Her hair was tied up, her eyes were huge, her face was covered in white powder. She was tied to a child's chair. A blanket was thrown on the floor. A tablet was on, showing cartoons. A plate was covered in leftovers from expired food. Melissa froze. "My God!" He released the child, who was trembling, unable to speak. "Calm down. I'm from the police. I'm here to get you out of here. You'll be fine, okay?" The girl didn't answer. She just held on tightly to her neck. 007, return through the corridor. Melissa carried the child in her arms, a gun in her hand, the other holding the girl's body. Police sirens echoed through the favela. Rifle shots ricocheted off the walls. On the radio, "Star, do you have the HD?" "Yes, but there's more, much more. They were using this child as currency, blackmail, with politicians. I found her tied up in a room. This is going to blow up." "Understood. Retreat through the back exit. Charlie is in containment. Robert 10, basement staircase." Camargo already knew. He heard everything on the Turco team's radio. "She took the child. Kill her. She can't leave with that." 4 men came towards the exit. Melissa ran. She protected the girl with her body. She almost tripped. She heard the screams. She fired once, twice, but was grazed in the shoulder. Blood stained the dress. The child cried. 0015, meeting with Caveira. Caveira arrived shooting. He killed 2. The third fell groaning. "Give me the child, come on," he shouted. She tried to hand it over, but another shot came from the top of the stairs. "Pow!" He hit Melissa in the abdomen. She fell to her knees, but protected the child with her own body. Kavira grabbed the girl, shot the last two targets, and threw himself to the ground with them. Melissa coughed up blood. "Mission accomplished, Skull." "No, don't fucking say that. The ambulance is coming. Look at me." She held his hand. She smiled weakly. "She's alive." That was worth it. And he closed his eyes. 035. Nightclub taken over. Congressman Ferreira was arrested. So was Turco. Camargo managed to escape, but the media already had the bombshell. A child, the daughter of a kidnapped businessman, used as a weapon of blackmail against politicians. Everything was documented. The operation was a success. But the cost, it was Melissa. 3 days after the operation, Caju Cemetery, 807. Rio woke up in morning. The overcast, heavy sky seemed to reflect the weight of the loss. A fine drizzle fell like a veil over the stiff faces, without makeup or emotional shielding. The city stopped. Melissa Antunes, codename Star, was buried with military honors. The procession began at the GOE headquarters, passed through the Jacaré favela, where children waved silently, and continued escorted by dozens of civil. Police motorcycles and BOPE vehicles with their sirens off. In the coffin, a folded flag, the black beret she wore in operations, and the badge, broken in half. Cemetery, 0832. Hundreds of people gathered around, skulls lined up, delegates with grim expressions. The media tried to film from a distance, but were kept away by the residents themselves who were there out of gratitude. The rescued girl, named Clara, was standing next to Skull. She was wearing a white blouse, her hair now clean and combed. She was holding the police officer's arm tightly. She saved me," he said softly, looking at the tombstone. "Why do good people die?" Skull swallowed hard. "Because sometimes only they have the courage to go to hell for someone they don't even know." Word from the commander, 0850. Melissa did not die in vain. She died as she lived, on a mission, protecting the innocent, facing evil head-on, without a vest for her soul. What she revealed in that nightclub will blow up this rotten state, and she will be remembered every day. Silence took over. Some men were crying, others couldn't even look at the ground. In the end, 21 rifle shots were fired into the air, a war tribute. After the burial, 10:03 a.m., hood of an unmarked vehicle, Skull was sitting alone, head down. A rookie cop approached with trepidation. "Sir, the press wants to know if you will speak out." He stood up slowly, lit a cigarette, and replied in a hoarse voice, "Whoever wants an answer will get it. But not at a press conference. It will be on the street, where she died, where it all began. Central Intelligence, War Room, 3:14 p.m. Turco made a deal. He will hand over the names of the deputies, the businessman, and the PM commander who facilitated the cargo." The prosecutor looked at Caveira. "This could bring down half a state." "Great," he replied. "I'll knock down the other half myself." She insisted, "But there's more. There's a name on the list, one that no one expected. A name that Melissa didn't have time to reveal. Camargo, the congressman's aide." "Camargo?" Caveira clenched his fists. "That bastard! He ran away yesterday. He disappeared from the radar." Skull took the badge, looked at it for a second, and put it in his pocket. He looked at the prosecutor coldly. "From now on, he is no longer a target of justice. He is mine." Barrera Favela. 2 days later, 10:36 p.m. An old car enters the community, drives slowly. Inside, Camargo, disguised, unshaven, gun. In his lap. He speaks on the phone. "I'm leaving the country tomorrow. I got a fake document, that's it." 2 minutes later, high beams blind him from the front. The car stalls. He tries to get out, but the window explodes. Someone pulls him by the neck, throws him to the ground, steps on his gun. Camargo. Remember Melissa? The skull appears from the shadows. Empty stare. Pistol with silencer in hand. She died protecting innocent people. You killed for money. Camargo chokes, drags himself. "You can take it. I have millions saved. I don't want your money, worm. I want your peace." 2 shots, in the chest. In the silence of the favela, no one screams, no one asks, no one saw, just the echo. Cavirom Barracks, 01, there. The commander reads the report but knows this was not formal justice. It was a settlement. It was personal. He calls Cavera. You already know this is going to be a problem, right? Skull in the car responds, the problem is leaving the criminal alive. Inside the Cavera adjusts the rearview mirror, looks at her own reflection, and whispers, rest in peace, Melissa. Out here, the war continues. Now tell me, do you think her death was worth it, or was she just another sacrifice in the rotten system? Comment below. And if you want to see more real, heavy stories that hit the nail on the head, leave a like and subscribe to the Rota de Conflito channel. Here, the truth is not hidden.